You can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Cong Wang takes on Bruna Brasil this Saturday on the UFC 312 preliminary card. And this is a very interesting fight. Cong Wang coming off of a huge upset loss at the UFC China card not too long ago against Gabriela Fernandez. She was a minus 950 favorite at the close of that fight and ended up getting caught and then choked out by Gabriela Fernandez, who, not a terrible fighter, 9-3, pretty good. Just nobody really saw that coming. There was a lot of hype behind Cong Wang. Very seasoned fighter, not really in MMA. She's only been in MMA for like two and a half years, but she's been kickboxing for a long time. Even has a win back in 2015 against Valentina Shevchenko. So not seeing really any losses at all on her kickboxing record other than a draw in her first fight. So very good on the feet. Been kickboxing since 2010, so in combat sports for 14 years. Only been in MMA for, I think it was the summer of 2022, yes. So 2.5 years she's in MMA. Was undefeated going into that last fight, 6-0. Coming off of the road to the UFC. Had one win on that show against a 5-2 opponent at the time who didn't have the best record herself. So I just feel like Cong Wang, a lot of experience, very good kickboxer, just hasn't really been tested in MMA at all. She knocked out Victoria Leonardo, who, again, not that great of a fighter in her own right. 9-5 record. She was a minus 1,300 favorite in that fight and got the knockout in a little over 1 minute. So hasn't really been tested. The second that she does get, a step up in competition against Gabriela Fernandez, who was 9-3 at the time, she gets finished. So a lot to be still determined on Cong Wang and kind of what future she has. Bruna Brasil, much more experienced. She's kind of like Gabriela Fernandez in terms of the amount of fights and backgrounds. Really, they're both pretty well rounded, both brown belts in jiu-jitsu, decent strikers. But I would say that Bruna Brasil is a better striker than Gabriela Fernandez, and Fernandez was able to catch Cong Wang coming in. Bruna Brasil coming off of a very dominant win over Molly McCann. Molly McCann, very tough fighter in her own right, brown belt, very good on the ground, has a lot of power on the feet, so able to handle her pretty well. Landed her takedowns, was able to defend some takedowns. She did get taken down, but was beaten up to the body, beaten up her calf in that fight. I'm going to have to go with Bruna Brasil in this one. I know that she's probably one of the biggest underdogs on the card, but I just have to go with her experience and her well-roundedness in MMA. She's been fighting since 2014, so she's been fighting for she's been a pro for over 10 years. She's 31 years old, so she's been fighting professionally since she was 21 years old. Has a brown belt in jiu-jitsu as of almost like 2 years ago, so who knows if she's a black belt yet, but very good jiu-jitsu. Fights out of a good gym in Brazil. Has very good striking, like I said, against Molly McCann. Didn't look very good against Luma Luke Boonmi, but Luma is probably one of the best strikers that they have in that women's division. Got finished by Denise Gomez. So, but then she also has her own head kick finishes. A lot of TKO finishes via striking. She has chokes. I just feel like she's gonna be too well-rounded to just kind of get stuck on her feet and beat up by Cong Wang. I think that she'll be able to get her takedowns and mix up this fight really well. I was looking at her stats. She's got, in the UFC alone, she's got 8 takedowns. 8 takedowns in 5 fights. I'm not convinced that Cong Wang has decent or good takedown defense, just because she's probably only been training it for the last 2.5 years, and again, Bruna Brasil's been training it for well over a decade. So I imagine she's able to get the pure striker down to the ground, and I feel like she can stay safe on the feet as well. She has been hurt on the feet, but again, this is against other mixed martial artists where she has to worry about them shooting takedowns and things of that nature. Whereas in this fight, all that she has to worry about coming from Cong Wang is strikes. Doesn't have to be concerned about her coming in for the clinch or shooting takedowns. She knows that if she tries to come in and clinch me, she's going to get taken down. So I doubt that she's going to want to get anywhere near me. So I feel like Bruna Brasil, she's going to be able to land her calf kicks. Very good calf kicks. We saw that against Molly McCann, reddened up her leg like within the first couple minutes of that fight, landed a bunch of calf kicks off the rip. So I think she's going to be able to manage the distance, do pretty good on the feet. I don't think that's where she's going to win this fight. I think she's going to stay safe and set up her takedowns and make this kind of a mixed martial arts fight. Get her to the ground, beat her from there, look for the submission. So it's hard for me to trust Cong Wang at this point. She's beat a lot of cans, in my opinion, and the second that she takes a step up and, you know, under the bright lights, she's getting caught and finished. And I think Bruna Brasil is better than Gabriela Fernandez. So Bruna Brasil plus 340, underdog. Cong Wang minus 440, which is just crazy to me. It's crazy to me that she's that high of a favorite given her last fight and taking on somebody as well-rounded and as experienced as Bruna Brasil. So that fight was even in China, in her backyard. Now she's going to be out in Australia. So I got to go with Bruna Brasil in this one. She's just the all-around better fighter, more well-rounded, has the takedown threat, and I'm starting to see in these evens fights, or where maybe it's a, you know, Cong Wang has a small or, you know, a decent advantage on the feet. I gotta value and respect the takedown and grappling skill, and who's going to be willing to be spamming takedowns and mixing it up. So I feel like she could even win a stand-up fight if she threatens with the takedowns and mixes it up there to keep Cong Wang guessing. So I'm gonna go with Bruna Brasil. I think she gets this one done. I could see her subbing Cong Wang when she gets to the ground, but if she can't get this up, I think she'll get a decision. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think that I'm crazy picking such a big dog, but I feel like this is a very good value in Bruna Brasil for this one. So thanks, guys.